I'm about to go live, baby. Get hype. Get hype. Hey guys, I'm so excited to come to you today. I want to give you guys some free training on wholesaling probate deals. So I'll wait for some of you guys to open up this live stream. You already know my name. My name is Barbara. I hope you're watching. Hit like, share, share this with your friends, your family. Definitely want to educate you guys. How you guys doing today? I see a couple of you out there. I wonder who you are. Engage with me, write some comments. I want to see who you are. Who is that out there watching me? Hey y'all. So I'm super excited today. I'm so excited because I finally I'm putting my programs together for you guys. I am making a lot of things happen. It's happening slowly but surely, but it's absolutely happening. But the reason why I'm coming to you today is I really want to talk about wholesaling probate deals. The reason why this is very important to me, because I know the end game will not be wholesaling for me. The end game for me will be apartment building investing. I will be a syndicator, meaning I will be a deal sponsor in some deals. I'll bring in a lot of investors, and we'll take down 100 unit deals or more than that. But I do know that I do have to start from somewhere. So my job, my full-time job right now is wholesaling residential real estate to real estate investors who want to flip property, which is absolutely okay. I love looking for deals for real estate investors. I love when my investors, make money off of deals. So that's my primary focus first and foremost, is to make sure I find the right deal for my investor and to make sure my deals make my investors money. Making my investors money is my #1 priority. When I'm looking at a deal, when I'm analyzing a deal, I'm analyzing that deal as if I was purchasing that deal. Anyone knows me, or any one of my investors knows the fact that I'm not going to just send them a deal, just put some number on it and say, hey, no, that's my fee. No, when I'm looking at a deal, I'm actually analyzing the deal. I'm looking at what is it going to take to actually renovate the property. I take a lot of things into account before I actually sell my deals to my investors. But I do want to talk to you about probate investing. So my first key today is going to be, #1, is to locate the personal, I'm hoping I'm spelling that right, the estate, or in parentheses I'll say PR. A personal representative is pretty much an individual who takes over the responsibility of a decedent's estate. For example, I'm gonna just give you a real life example. Say for instance your great-grandma passes away, and you're one of the most responsible people in the family. The family is dependent on you to handle all of his or her affairs, meaning you have to pay all the bills in the estate. You have to sell any property if the family decides to sell the property. You have to pay all of her creditors, her debt, things like that. The personal representative is just a responsible party who oversees the actual estate of a decedent person. A lot of the decedent people are first and foremost your family members, because you are first in line to actually handle the estate of that particular person that passed away. A lot of times with these estate properties, I'll say 80% of the personal representatives actually sell the property. A lot of times they sell because, one, they still have family actually living in the property, and that family member may or may not be taking care of the bills. They may not be upkeeping the property. It's a lot of things that go on with family. Another thing is, a lot of the personal representatives are out of state. They are not like in DC or Maryland, where I am. They may be in California, Kentucky, or Kansas or somewhere, and they don't have the wherewithal to actually travel back and forth to take care of a property that's not even in their state. Another reason why they actually sell is just simply because they want to it's a really sentimental thing when you lose a loved one, and there's a lot of memories that go into it, and a lot of people try to hold on as much as they can, but one of their way of letting go is actually, you know, selling the property. It's not always the best thing for some people, but for some people they say, yeah, this is, you know, our decision and this is what we're going to do. But the first thing that you have to do is locate the person representative of that particular property. How do you locate the person representative? You can do it a couple of ways. One of the ways that I do it, I have my guy, he goes down to the probate court and he takes photos of the actual dockets in the court records. What does that mean? That means that anytime someone opens up an estate in whatever, you know, state that you're in, whatever county that you're in, they have to go do it at the courthouse. Once they go to the courthouse to actually do that, they have to write a petition, meaning they have to fill out an application to, you know, become the personal representative. And then once they do that, they have to put their personal information on that particular sheet. So what are they putting on that sheet, Barbara? I'm glad you asked. What they're putting on there is their name, because they want to become the personal representative of the estate. They're going to put the decedent's name, meaning the person that passed away. They're going to put their name on there. They're going to put the person's property address, because if they have a property, they have to actually put that in that petition, because it lets the courts know that, you know, a big asset will be sold a part of this estate. Then they have to put their phone number and or their attorney's information, because what happens is the court is going to want to reach back out to that person, and there's no way for the court to reach out to that person without having their information. So all of the pertinent, very important information goes into that petition. That's where you find the meat. That's where you find all of the meat, to be quite honest with you. That's where you find all of the information. So if anyone is selling you probate, you know, deals or anything associated with probate, the way that you get that information is you have to go down to the courthouse. There's no other way that you can do it if you're not actually going down to the courthouse. I'm sure there may be some type of techie way, or maybe if you know somebody who worked there, but to get the most accurate information is going down to the courthouse and getting that information. So that's the first thing you got to do. You got to locate that personal representative. The second thing that you have to do is call the PR. So number 2 and number 3 are pretty much going to kind of be symbiotic, just simply because you can call that person or you can send them a letter in the mail. To be quite honest with you, probate is the best way to get started in real estate investing. Before I, go on to number 2 and number 3, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself. I started in this business, with no game plan. All I knew is that I wanted to be successful, and all I knew is that I had to start somewhere. I had to do what was cheapest. Getting these leads was the most cheapest thing that I ever did. Like, it took a lot of my time, but I didn't have a lot of money to dish out, to put out there, so I had to go the hard way. I had to go down to the cross and get the information. So when I started, I was like, I want to get a wholesale deal. I want to make something happen. I want to do it. I want to do it. It literally took me 4 months of cold calling sellers to get my first deal. Like, it took that long. So what I really want to let you guys know is that it's not an overnight thing. It's not something that you're going to just do and then, hey, I make a phone call and I'm going to get a deal. Absolutely not. 80 to 90% of the personal representatives, when they first open up the estate for that decedent, they're not ready to sell the property because they have a lot of responsibilities. They may or may not have a lot of family members that they have to deal with. They have a lot of legal paperwork they have to go through. They have a lot of, maybe other assets regarding the estate. They have a lot going on. So just because you go down there and you get their information today does not mean that they want to sell tomorrow. You literally have to be in this game for the long haul. So I want to encourage you that if you do want to start investing in real estate and you want to get into this space, do not think that it's going to happen overnight. You need to dedicate at least 6 to 8 months of maybe not even getting a deal. Like, literally, you got to put that, you got to really plant those seeds in order to reap a harvest. For me, I was really fortunate to get my first deal in the first 4 months. But the reason why I got that deal in the first 4 months, not was because I was cold calling even before then. I used to cold call absentee owners. I'm a licensed real estate agent, so in order for me to get deals, get listings, things like that, I was already privy to cold calling. So that was just, probate was just in addition to what I was already doing. But I did know that calling probate was definitely going to be lucrative, because I knew that a lot of those people need to sell those properties. So let me tell you about my first deal real quick, off the topic real quick. Let me tell you about my first deal. So I'm calling. I'm like, I'm gonna give me a deal. One of my buddies, he had just did like a $45,000 deal. So he got on the phone with me like, hey Barbara, you know, what's up? What you doing? You know, what's going on? I'm like, you know, I'm just working, living life, whatever. He's like, man, I just wholesale some land. You know, I did this, I did that. I was like, really? He was like, yeah, you know, man, I had put this together, I put that together, had the cash buyer, had this and that. I was like, oh, really? So like, what am I doing? So he just started telling me about his whole experience, and that kind of really got me fired up and got me really, really, really pumped up. So he was like, look, Barbara, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna send you the contract, I'm gonna send you everything you need to do a deal. Literally, I kid you guys not, literally probably about 2 weeks later, I got my first deal under contract, and then I settled within like 14 days. I'm telling you all that to say that, you know, you have to get started, but who you're around, your environment plays a key factor on your success. I mean, I could have still been cold calling, trying to figure out, you know, look for deals and things like that. But just that little push, that little inkling of hope like that he gave me, like really pushed me and actually helped and propelled me to move forward. But anyway, so let me finish talking about the first deal. So I'm calling this guy. I did the property was in Northeast DC in Woodridge, but every time I say that, people think I say Woodbridge, but no, Woodridge in DC. The guy who was selling the property, he had like a disabled child. You know, he was going through a lot with his child. You know, he had so many bills that he had to take care of. Let me tell you one thing about probate. If you are dealing with a responsible personal representative, if they have a mortgage on their house, they're going to pay that mortgage every month. But not only are they paying the mortgage to that house, they may have their own bills. So yes, the personal representative is responsible for all of the bills in the estate. So not just their own personal bills, but they also have to take care of the decedent's bills. When someone passes away, you don't know what type of debt they have, you don't know what type of assets, you're just like kind of just thrown into a situation. So his situation was that, you know, he had to take care of all of this stuff, all of this craziness, that he didn't have no money to live off of. Like, he literally had to sell their house in order to get out of his situation. But my goal, when I first went into the deal, I'm like, well, you know, I'm a real estate agent. I want you to get more for the house. I really, really want you to get more for the house. This is what we can do. He was like, Barbara, it's not about the money. He was like, I need to get out of this situation. He was like, I want to sell this property. He's like, I don't want people walking through my house. I don't want to have to show my house. I really just want this off of my hands, off of the books, just off the cuffs. But I really couldn't believe it, so I kept pushing like, no, you need to put this property on the market. I'm telling you, you can get more for it. And I could have lost the deal like that, because he told me more than once, he was like, Barbara, I do not want to do that. He's like, I do not want to put my property on the market. So, you know, I had to consult with my team, you know. And another thing, I consulted with my team. So mind you, I did not do this by myself, okay? Just let's get that straight. If you're gonna be successful in any type of business, any endeavor in your life, you have to have someone behind you, just, you know, cheering you on, you know, giving you information, feeding you information, actually imparting into you. So what ended up happening was, I called up my team. I'm like, look, you know, I got this guy, I think he should put it on the market. He's saying he don't want to put it on the market. What do I do? So one of my homeboys was like, don't put it on the market, Barbara. I was like, oh, is it that simple? He was like, no, you need to get that property under contract. You need to put that property under contract. So I was like, okay. I had no idea what that really meant. Like, okay, all right, let me figure out, let me get my little brain and start calculating, what do I need to do? So I had met with the seller initially. You know, we built that rapport. We had a conversation. Mind you, probate is a very competitive market, especially in DC. So he's seen a lot of people. He met with a lot of people. I was just another person. But see, the thing was, I knew that when going in, I may or may not get the deal. up front because I just was so oblivious to like what was really going on. He really cared that I trusted, like that he trusted me, like he felt like I cared about him in his situation. So that's one of the reasons, you know, that's one of the things that actually pushed me over the edge, over top of a lot of other people. He was like, Barbara, I got this guy. He gave me the guy's name, all the guy's information and everything, because I got this guy, he been doing this for so long. He buy deals, he gonna buy for this amount. And he trusted that guy, but he was like, Barbara, I really wanna give you a shot. I really wanna work with you. And that really compelled me. It's like, well, wow, I got something here. Like, I could make some things happen. So long story short, I ended up meeting with him again, because I had to finally present a deal to him. I had to present a contract to him. I had to do something. So that same day that I met back up with the guy, I had called my cash buyer. Now, in this cash buyer, I trusted with so much, like I really trusted him. Mind you, I would never say shop your deal unless you have it under contract. Unless it's someone who you really can trust in, or you already have an agreement with. You know what I'm saying? So I had a really strong affinity and trust for this individual. So I'm like, hey, you know, bro, I got this deal. You know, I'm at the seller's house, and this is what he's saying he want. He was like, oh, Barbara, I'm right around the corner. I'm on my way. So it was so funny that, so he went to the property and he met with the seller. I don't know what my cash buyer had told this guy, but he was like, when I had went back to meet with the seller, he was like, oh, that was your boss. I was like, yeah, that's my boss. You know, that's my boss. You know, I just went with whatever it is that he said. So long story short, he was like, okay, yeah, your boss. I met with him. I like him. You know, what can we do? So that night, I had called my cash buyer up. I'm like, okay, so now the guy, he wants to know what are we going to do? How are we going to get this done? He was like, look, tell him this. He was like, tell him this. Say this. Say it this way. So this is what happened. So the seller was telling us that he had somebody who was going to buy it for $400,000. So my cash buyer was willing to pay $385 for it, but he was like, look, how about you do this, Barbara? He was like, did the person did he get a contract yet? Did he do this yet? I'm like, just telling him like the whole story. He was like, look, I guarantee if you say this is gonna happen. Man, I did everything he told me to do. So I'm not gonna make it seem like I did this on my own. I did everything that my cash buyer told me to do, and literally that night we got that deal under contract. I mean, it was like one of the greatest things that I've ever did. And on my first deal, I made $20,000. I'm like 26 years old, getting into this, not even knowing like the real game. So trying to figure things out. So I'm saying that it can definitely happen, but it did not happen for me overnight. And I definitely had someone behind me. All right, so number 2, call the personal representative. I'm a big cold caller. I'm real heavy on cold calling. Cold calling is my thing. I don't know why my camera is blinking like that. That's kind of weird. I hope it don't cut off. I say call the personal representative. You want to get on the